Welcome back to First Listens, that series where we listen to an album that I've not heard for the first time.
Today, it's the 1975's Being Funny in a Foreign Language, their fifth album, the album that really blew them up across the pond in America and around the world. Tim said I, because this is one of my favourite albums and one of my favourite bands. I've listened to this dozens of times, but Tim's not a huge 1975 fan, so I thought we'd listen to this with him for the first time, get his reactions, and I can give a little bit of backstory and nostalgia with some of the tracks.
I'm quite excited to see what I think of it. I really enjoyed the Notes on a Conditional Form album, so I'm intrigued to see how this one goes.
Let's kick it off with the first track, the 1975.
Bit of crazy piano. Man's just slamming that thing.
A bit of context for you, Tim. They always have an introductory track on their album called the 1975, which isn't like a full-on track. Right. This one kind of is more than others, but do you know what I mean? It's more like a hello.
Has he got like a filter on his voice?
Seems that way.
Piano is making me feel insane. He thinks he's got a boner, but he can't really tell.
It's cynical, it's Adderall and vitriol, and young people drinking Aperol.
Yeah, I've never noticed how strange his voice sounds in this.
And it's about time. And this is what it looks like. Making an aesthetic out of not doing well, and mining all the bits of you think you can sell while the fans are on.
It's very soundscapey, isn't it?
Sorry if you're living in your 17. I'm sorry.
Did something happen to him at age 17?
Well, the track was more about the modern world and how it kind of is crushing people.
So he's sorry if you're young in this
Yeah.
world. Okay. We're going to run straight into Happiness.
Yeah, we can do. Give some thoughts. This is more of an outro. What do you think? Little introduction.
Does what it needs to. I don't think there's... Yeah, it's an intro to an album, innit? Oh.
Let's see if happiness actually brings you happiness, Tim.
Guess we're going to find out very, very shortly. Oh, a little bit of slap bass in there. Come on. That's how you get me on side right off the bat. Funk infused.
There's so many different things going on. Little horns in the background, funky bass line.
He does have a very particular voice, doesn't he? Like you could listen to any 1975 track and go, okay, yeah, it's a 1975. That's clearly Matty Healy.
I think straight from the get-go on this, it always gives me those 80s vibes, like very heavily. On some of the other albums, especially Notes, which came just before this, we didn't have that to this level. This is like straight up 80s.
His voice sounds a lot better than what I'm used to from hearing the first project, which is the only one I've really explored other than Notes.
Maybe he finally did some singing lessons.
Yeah, I think he's definitely done something with it. Sounds a lot more effortless. You know what I mean? It doesn't sound like he's actively trying to hit the notes.
One thing that I pick up on is the little picking guitars in the background. You know that da-da-da-down, down.
Just like, yeah, keeps the funk flowing. I'm hoping for a little switch up sometime soon. Been very in the same realm currently. Maybe like a little instrument dropout or something. I'm loving the guitar work though, I will say that. And also the saxophonist is killing it. Somebody talking in my ears.
It kind of does have those electronic influences as well, doesn't it? The little pew 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 a minute ago, and the voice is flying around.
It's kind of making me think that Fred again in 1975 would do an alright collab, which I hate to say. Another long ass outro.
Yeah, this album's very soundscapey compared to a lot of the previous work, and I quite like it for that. I just noticed in the writing credits there's DJ Sabrina, the teenage DJ. That's so random. I want to know who that is now.
Yeah. Funky.
Really cool way to end out the track. Is that sax?
Yeah.
Sax solo. Love it.
As the first real track on the album, I thought that was all right. I think it was funky enough, and if we stay in that realm for the rest of the album, then I'll be somewhat happy.
Yeah, like I said during the track, listening to it in this capacity makes me really realise how much of an 80s influence that has. But it's weird because I mentioned how much of a move away it was from notes during the song, but then on reflection, there was actually a few little electronic influences as well that were creeping through, and I'd never really picked up on that before because I always just see that as like a fun dance along, you can boogie to it track. Like live, everyone's just having a little dancey dance. But we'll go on to the third track of the album, Looking for Somebody to Love.
Oh, a bit of energy. In with that bass again. Very prominent so far. This is very feel good, isn't it? This is just like, oh, good vibes.
Somebody running for the field. Somebody should have stayed home. Somebody picking out the body of somebody they were getting to love. Somebody lacking in desire. The type of just don't fuck. A supreme gentleman with a gun in his hand, looking for somebody to love.
The contrast between those deep bass notes and the higher notes works so well.
You got that staccato guitar again. It's got like Talking Heads vibes to his voice. He's got that filter that David Byrne has, and it sounds like 80s infused yet again.
There's a good level of reverb on it where I can hear a slight echo, but it's not too much.
I like the harmonized notes on Looking for Somebody to Love. There's a lot going on right now.
Maybe we're lacking in desire. Maybe it's just all fuck. The boy with the plan and the gun in his hand was looking for somebody to love.
The use of the saxophonist in that part was so good. It just, because there was the first note and then the second one didn't quite get to where you wanted it to, and then it kicked off. I liked that.
Massive injection of energy there. Really good vibes throughout. I thought that Matty's vocals particularly stand out on that. I liked what they were doing. Like I said, it gave me a Talking Heads vibe, but more, I don't know, more jazzy
Upbeat,
almost.
maybe?
Yeah.
I really enjoy that song. I think it injects a bit of needed energy in the album after a pretty slow start. And like you say, Matty's vocals on this album are so much better and more noticeable. I thought in that song it was a bit more energetic, even in like the raspiness of his voice, compared to Happiness in the opening track. Seemed very like sat back, relaxed, just delivering some vocals. That felt a bit more punchy, and I enjoyed that.
And he was doing much shorter, like that kind of stuff, rather than it being just like long notes that just kind of legato into each other. It was very short and just, yeah, I liked it.
Well, before we go on to the fourth track, if you are a fan of the 1975 or just a big music fan in general, please remember to hit like and subscribe. Let us know in the comments. This album's been out for a hot minute now. What is your favourite song from Being Funny in a foreign language?
Up next, we've got Part of the Band. Spooky intro.
She was part of the Air Force, I was part of the band. I always used to burst into my hand.
Okay. Taken away from those lyrics, the beat, the instrumental that's going on is very, very cool.
Really unique, isn't it?
Don't know why he's busted in somebody's hand as an intro to a track. There's that little electronic influence in it again as well. Just very slight.
So many cringes and heroin binges. I was coming off the hinges, living on the fringes of
You're talking about himself there.
Yeah.
imagination.
Which the track has completely drawn back all that energy instantly from the last.
You gotta talk about the people, baby.
Oh, was not expecting that. Really soft drums. I feel like the drummer's purposely just going, playing
As
a
light
tiny
as he
little
possibly
drum
can.
kit. Yeah.
Some vaccinista, toe bag chic baristas sitting
That's a hell of a fucking, I don't even know what he said.
writing about their ejaculation.
There's a lot about ejaculate in this song.
Love's coming, doesn't he?
The random switch ups are strange.
Is this still Matty Healy doing the vocals?
Yeah.
Oh, crazy little slide guitar going on as well.
The lyrical content of this track has been really interesting as well. It's like he explored himself at first and then was telling a story about someone else, a woman. And then he's kind of going back onto himself in this part. It's been cool. It's been like a little journey.
Tiny little bit of distortion on what I'm thinking is a guitar.
It's like they've got the crackle of a vinyl.
Yeah, it's really interesting sonically. There's a lot of sounds you wouldn't expect to hear in tandem, but it works. Is that amount of time since he last did any kind of narcotic-y stuff? Yeah.
Yeah, because he starts that off with Am I a Post-coke, average, skinny bloke. So he's talking about when he used to be on the hard stuff. But I really like that song.
Yeah, I think there was a lot going on in that. It felt very... it was like safe experimental, where they kept changing styles, they kept throwing in stuff that usually you wouldn't think would go together. I'm pretty sure at one point there was a muted trumpet in there alongside the saxophone, which might not be the first time we've heard it, but they worked nicely. Then you had the kind of distorted electric guitar, but it was being plucked, so it had this cool sound to it. And there was a lot going on in that I quite enjoyed. I think the juxtaposition between the intro part and the bit where it went all like airy and Beatles-esque almost, I enjoyed it. It wasn't what I expected, though, so it kind of caught me off guard, yeah.
When I first listened to this album, and even up to recently, that was probably my least favourite track. But listening to it in this setting and really kind of consuming the lyrics and all the different little intricacies of it, I really enjoyed it. Live, it's not as good, in my opinion, because it's such a calm, relaxed, drawn-back song. But I really enjoy it for what it is.
Also, I think that live, because there's so much, like, crazy stuff going on with the instruments where they're going all that stuff, I think that would be really hard to get that sound perfect live. I think it would be very easy for it to sound messy, so I don't think that it translates that well, but as a record, yeah, that's decent.
Well, Tim, track number 5, Oh Caroline.
Is this anything to do with Sweet Caroline?
No, thank the Lord.
Oh.
I've been suicidal. You've been gone for weeks. If I'm undecided, you decide for me. Baby, I'll do anything that you wanna. I'll try anything that you wanna. I'll try, 'cause you're on my mind. Oh, Caroline.
Oh, where's that come from? I'm adoring the bass on this whole album so
It's
far,
been really prominent, and it's been one of the main factors in every song.
Again, 80s-esque, because it was all the rage back then as well.
Ooh.
Big Phil Collins drum fill.
That sounded sick.
Yeah.
I found it really interesting so far. On some of the vocals, there's harmonies, and some there's not. But like, it literally might be there is on 2 words in a sentence, and then there is no more. I don't know. It's really strange. I can't quite work it out.
There's that little electronic synth kicking in there.
Ooh, those drums sound sick, panning around the headphones.
Yeah, that fill was good.
And they've just slowly built it up where now we got those like rolling synth notes or piano notes in the background, just bringing that energy, but it's all slowly come together. What did you think of Caroline?
I enjoyed it. I think there was a lot going on in that again. I think they were exploring the same soundscape that they've been in for the entire album so far. I do like that they've stuck in that vein, and even though they've thrown in these little bits that are a little bit different, they're still utilising all the instruments. And something that I've noticed at this point in the album is that whilst in the past, again, I can't comment on it too largely because I haven't listened to that much 1975, but I felt like Matty Healy's vocals were the prominent part of it, and it was like, listen to this man sing. This is Matty Healy featuring everybody else. This feels a lot more like every member of the band and everybody involved speaks louder. So Matty Healy, his vocals are just part of the mix rather than it being like, here's a song where I'm singing over the top. This is like, this is a band. This isn't just one guy.
His vocals have done very well so far on this album, in my opinion. And Looking at this, obviously, we're not even quite at the halfway point yet. We're kind of reaching that in the next track. It really has made me understand how different this album is in every way to their other projects. I think all the rest you can kind of relate them to each other in many ways. This just feels completely left field to me. Obviously, I'm a huge fan, so I've listened to them for a long time, but I like the flow of it in terms of we've had a calm intro, little injection of energy, back to calm, and then that was more energy again. I think the way that they've crafted the album so far is very well.
It's kind of like waves, and with the kind of soundscape aesthetic that they're going for, it makes sense to me. It flows nicely, but what do we have next, Joe?
It's I'm in Love with You.
I'm expecting this one to be a more chilled out track than the previous. Like, even with that acoustic guitar, there's some cool panning going on with it, just to give it a bit of extra depth. This immediately feels like a single track. Was this one of the singles?
Yes.
Yeah.
I really like those panning. What even is that in the background? It's just a panning high pitch.
Again, it's the sound that you would hear in 80s music. I think it's just a synth. Come on, let's get past this part. I feel like my vinyl's stuck.
I knew when I clicked play on this song that the repetitiveness would get you.
Yeah.
Again, the use of harmonies has just been mental in this song, coming in and out and sneaking in completely different ways.
I like the call and responses with those little sections as well, with it being like a ghostly whispered vocals as the response.
This is just like a feel-good, dance around, very single focused.
This part just, I can't.
You're not a fan of the chorus, so you're not in love with it, Tim?
No, not at all. I am not.
With the random ad-libs, etc., it kind of sounds like he's having a conversation like a bar or a pub. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Another nice extended outro. I do like that because it lets them explore the instrumental that they built with the other instruments rather than having to have the vocals as the leading melody.
And I feel like when you come to, you may not do this, but when you come to re-listen to the album again, you then kind of pick up on the bits that you didn't on the first listen because you've heard all the instruments shine for a bit at the end. Well, I feel like you weren't in love with that track, but I quite like it. I completely appreciate it. It's very repetitive, and I think that was probably made with radio play and people singing along in mind. Obviously, I'm biased. I've seen this live 100 times and people do sing it along and dance around and have a great time. I still think it's a decent track, but I get the gripe.
I think of all the tracks so far, again, I don't think it was terrible. Let me just get that out the way. I think it was all right. I think the instrumental was great. It was purely that chorus that just started grinding on me eventually. It just got to a point where I was like, okay. But then when it happened 3 or 4 times, I was like, okay, this is taking the mickey now. But overall, all right track. But the repetition does bring it down. If they were to do something different with the instrumental when we're having the eyes, then I think I would have enjoyed it more. But because it was exactly the same, just copy and pasted. I understand that it's a single track, it's for the radio play, but of the 6 that we've listened to so far, that was the one that made me think of the debut album the most, which again is the only album that I've really heard songs from other than Notes. So didn't really like it that much because that was the sound that I associate with the 1975.
Felt like it went to a bit more of a basic sound.
Yeah. So it wasn't quite as experimental. There wasn't quite as much going on with the instruments.
No, I can accept that. But as a fan of the band, obviously, I don't mind that. We'll go on to All I Need to Hear up next.
This is going to be a more somber one, isn't it? Ooh. Whale. Who plays the piano for them?
It's one of the members.
It's just one of them. It's fucking one of them.
Well, they have a touring band that does that stuff as well.
Right.
But I think it's Adam, one of the members, does as well.
I'm sure somebody can tell us who plays the piano for the 1975.
Well, in this song, Matty Healy does live.
Oh.
Yeah, he just sits on a piano.
Oh, so he is
a
a pianist. Yeah, a big pianist.
I miss what they say.
It's not even there. It's so rarely. That distorted guitar. There.
If I can't be holding you near, tell me you love me. That's all I need to hear. I sit in my kitchen.
I think that distortion just gives it a little bit more bite than it just being an airy love song type beat.
I don't need the crowds and the cheers. Oh, just tell me you love me, 'cause that's all that I need to hear.
It creates such a warm sound. I mean, I said this for a different track a bit ago. It feels like I'm sat in front of the fire on a winter's night with some bread.
You love
toasting
sitting
it.
in front of the fire.
Do you know, I
Don't you
love
be
the fire.
toasting bread again, for fuck's sake. I'm not having it.
So much more. Reply to my message.
I think the guitar is doing a lot for me.
Pick up my call.
As not really a fan of more somber tracks, but that guitar is just lifting it ever so slightly out of that category. Oh, little bird.
Oh, I don't care if you're insincere. Just tell me what I wanna hear.
Oh!
Know where to find me, the place where we lived all these years.
Strings coming in beautifully.
Tell me you love me, that's all I need to hear. Oh, tell me you love me, that's all I need to hear.
I'm going to have a very biased opinion on that track as being a stern disliker of more softer and somber tracks. And it didn't do a whole lot for me. But like I was saying throughout, they did add elements that took it out of just piano and vocals, which a lot of artists just kind of throw at least one of those songs on the album. So I appreciate that they've tried to kind of rework that kind of soft love songy style. And I like what they went for. But for me, that's probably my least favourite so far.
It's one of my favourites on the album. I don't know what it is about it. I just really like the ambience and the feeling that it creates.
I can understand people that like the 1975 thinking that song is great because there is a lot of great musicianship going on in there. And like I say, the elements themselves, it is what it is. But me personally, I just don't like it.
No, you're a big energy guy.
Yeah.
The majority of the time I am. If it was most other bands, I probably wouldn't like it that much. But I don't. It's just something about the little twanging guitars, the funky little bass line going on throughout it. Even just the way that every now and then the drums will just slowly sneak in. You'll just hear them, and then they'll just disappear for a second. And so, I don't know. It just feels like I'm going on a journey when I listen to that song, on like a lava-filled basin.
A what?
A lava-filled basin.
Okay,
Just
yeah.
warmth,
yeah,
brother.
Yeah. I think that, okay, yeah, sure. That little bitey, distorted guitar that just every so often was just bam, like that.
Yeah.
I think that really helped me to continue listening to the track without being completely switched off. So, yeah, credit to him.
Well, Tim, up next is wintering.
What does wintering mean? Is that a word?
I don't know. I've never heard that word before. You'll find out.
Yeah, it's just like, it just comes straight in. Just be like.
She walks down the stairs, feeling herself, looking like she just won a court case.
It's a lot of words.
He's got a funny way of using the same 4 chords for every song he makes. And he's got a feel that he plays with the words like a skill, yeah, it's pretty great. He said his official friend died cause of officiate. Yeah, she's got a hand and she plays the duet a grade 8, but she's got no soul. And John's obsessed with fat ass and he's 10 years old. Oh, Dad's a notice red man, a wedding type guy with the best voice you ever heard. He said, give me a date I can work on.
He's really
harder.
world building with this, setting a scene.
On the 23rd. Drive up on the 23rd. And I bumped into Judy in the co-op. She asked how the family's been.
Interesting point that, because I think there'll be a lot of Americans that have no idea what bumped into them in the co-op means. 'Cause that's such a British thing. Co-op is cooperative. It's kind of like a 7-Eleven type thing. But that's crazy to throw it in there. I just wanted to point that out.
That's a proper British line, isn't it, actually?
Yeah.
I've noticed that before. It's quite good.
Yeah.
I said, Alex is a sculptor and Olivia's been a vegan since 10. Well, Vin wears dresses while Debbie coalesces in a fleece that doesn't work.
I like the rhyme scheme throughout these little mini verses.
I get home on the 23rd.
It's by far the heaviest vocally, as in there's the most vocals in this track.
Most
by a mile.
vocal focused.
Yeah.
Yeah. Talking about what's her name?
Nice.
Yeah.
Now stop the percussion, I wanna have a discussion and it's Christmas. This is gonna be a nightmare. I just came for the stuff and not to argue about nothing but my words. I'll be home on the 23rd.
It's funny because that's usually when I end up going home as well, as on the 23rd.
I really like the concept of that song. The whole thing is like saying, oh, this is my dad, this is John, this is whoever, telling a little story about him, bumping into someone in local shop and telling them what your family's up to, and like, yeah, you're home for Christmas. I thought it was really cool.
Initially, wasn't a huge fan. The more we got into it, the more I realised he was kind of just explaining what happens at Christmas and kind of setting the scene about like his brothers and his parents and his sisters and his family, just everything like that. I actually quite liked that. You know, by the end of it, I was turned from thinking, oh, okay, what's happening here, to, oh, I understand what's happening here. I don't think it really needs much diving into because it's just a fun little track about him saying, this is what I do at Christmas.
Yeah, I really enjoy it. My favourite line is, I just came for the stuffing, not to argue about nothing.
That's literally me, to be fair. I fucking love stuffing, man.
It's like, give me that stuffing. But no, it's one of the shortest tracks, or is the shortest track on the album. And I think it just tells a cool little story, keeps it simple. The energy's up again, which we needed after the last track, which was so calm. So it keeps within the flow of the album. But I found myself listening to that near Christmas, even though I'm always at home.
I was going to say, weirdly, that might be a track that I add to a little Christmas playlist. I actually quite enjoyed that. And I think it's short enough and it's not braggadocious in the way that Matty can sometimes be. It's just him telling a story, and I enjoyed it. But up next, we have track number 9, which is Human 2. They're really liking these conversation bits in the intros.
Considering me,
I bet there's somebody out there that's picked apart what they're actually saying, has written it all out.
thinking it was something I used to do.
He's not done that yet. The TH being an F. You know, something.
I thought
I guess that's more just an accent thing than anything else.
And I'm a human too. Know that you're a human.
To be fair, this is probably my least favourite song on this album.
Oh, that sets me up well.
Yeah, you might really enjoy it though. I highly doubt it.
So tell me you're a human, but I've always been the same. Yeah, I've always been.
That One More Time was like pitch shift down. That
it was
felt like
weird.
something straight off Notes.
It
Shiny
actually sounded
collarbone.
like someone in the studio that it picked up going, one more time, do that again.
You know that you're a human
Do.
too. Darling, that's what humans
Do.
I've never even noticed that before.
This is about I'm going to ruin this album for you now.
Them little distorted guitars are back in the background as well.
I'm a human too.
Get those shakers in.
Know that you're
That picked it up a bit, didn't it?
Yeah, it really
With not
did.
much.
It's very lounge feeling now. It's a lot of swelling with the guitars as well. Like that there.
What was that?
I don't know, someone ripping wallpaper off a wall.
Oh, tell me you're human. Tell me you're human.
I tell you what, I would still say that's probably my least favourite track on the album. But I do quite like the production of it. The little sound effects and again, it's like it builds up a little environment of sound. I do like that. I just think, it's practically just the same lyrics for a whole song. It feels a little bit more like an interlude to me.
I think the second half where, they started to add the other instruments and kind of build it up a little bit, I preferred. Not my least favourite. My least favourite was the other slower song, which I think was All I Need to Hear.
Yeah, I can't believe you didn't like that. I love that.
It just wasn't for me. But this one actually had a bit more to it. There was a bit more going on. There was a lot more... like I was saying, it's more of a lounge jazz type feel to it. It was very laid back. You could just put that on in the background. And I think it's very unoffensive, easy listening. I haven't got much against it.
Well, before we go on to the big hitter of the album in About You, let us know in the comments some other albums we should listen to. Tim has only ever heard Notes on a Conditional Form before in full. I've obviously heard every 1975 album, so it could be another project that you think Tim would like more, or just any album from across the music world.
I'm just going to throw this out there. If you do suggest the 1975's debut album, I will probably pan it entirely because I heard too many songs of that when it's played on the radio and I'm just not for it. But anything else, I'm open to.
About You. This hit stratospheric heights. It was everywhere on TikTok and Instagram, and it just trended massively when this album came out.
It'll be interesting to see if I recognise it, because off the bat, I had no idea.
It was kind of when TikTok... I know it was 2022, but I don't know, it wasn't as big then, TikTok. It didn't seem to have as much pull on music.
This is large. Oh, interesting vocals. Lower than usual. Doesn't even sound like Matty.
There's been a few tracks you've said that, though.
And I like it.
No! The bass is doing a lot again. Just in the background. But it's like directing the entire pace of the song.
I like that. Ghostly. This is a very haunting track so far, isn't it?
The lyrical content of this is fantastic as well. It's like he's still with someone, but it's not quite working out, and he's looking back on it. It is quite sad, that, isn't it? The thought of when a relationship ends, that eventually the person will just forget about you. Like, they won't. They'll still remember, but they won't really think about it anymore.
To you, it feels like
Yeah.
they think that you've forgotten, but it's like, obviously not. That's not Matty.
No, it's not.
I'd be very impressed. Do you know who that is?
Can't remember off the top
Somebody
of my
tell us, who is this female vocalist now?
head. I've seen her live as well, but I can't remember. Just the soundscape is so cool. It's like these swirling synth notes, and it's just all beating up to create a strange but magical sound.
I like that, again, they're leaving the last minute or so to explore the sound that they've created with all the other instruments. There's a teasing saxophone in there,
Sneaking
like an
in.
angry bee that keeps flying past. How is this not the outro track for the album? How is there another track after this?
Yeah, you're right, actually. Because it feels like I'm stood in the middle of a tornado and there's just instruments flying around me.
Yeah,
Just stuff playing.
a whole
Yeah.
orchestra been picked up. Oh, there's the saxophone.
It's Saxonado.
I somewhat enjoyed that track. I don't really understand why that would be the biggest off the album. I think it was really cool in what it did. I think it was very nice vibes throughout. But interestingly, only George Daniel and Matthew Healy credited as writers on that. And I think you can really feel George Daniel's influence on that track as a whole and how it was all built up. One other thing that I've noticed, that song in particular, this really isn't a vocal dominant album in the slightest. There's been one or two tracks where it's been the main point, but that was kind of the point of the track because it was telling a story. Most of them, they've let everything else meet it in the mix, if not overshadow the vocals, and I really like that.
This song was the best example of that. I think About You paints a great picture of the talent in the band. Everything, all the little elements, all the production choices, I think it just ties up beautifully. I really like the lyrical content as well, that kind of idea of exploring a relationship where, I mean, it seemed at the start of the track he was still in the relationship, and you're saying, we imagine getting married in our heads and da-da-da-da-da, and then it goes on to that, do you think that I've forgotten about you after those thoughts that we were having? I think you could listen to it and extrapolate a different message from it every time you listen to it, but for me, that's what makes it a fantastic song.
I think it's one of those that will be personal to a lot of people for their own reasons, and maybe not the reasons that they wrote initially. Something I noticed as well is that I think Matty's kind of worked on his enunciation and how he pronounces words on this, because on that he says, "Do you think I have forgotten?" And he put a lot of emphasis on the T, whereas I feel like in the past he would have been forgotten.
Yeah.
And he would have missed the T in a very English way. And it was like what I picked up earlier where he said something. That was the first time I'd heard him do a kind of British accent on the words. So I think that's another part of it that makes the vocals better, is that he's not doing that really antiquated British accent. Oh, this is how I speak. And I enjoy it for that.
Well, we're on to the last song in When We Are Together.
Our first kiss was Christmas. in the Walmart toy department.
So for all of our British watchers, Walmart is like the co-op in the UK.
No, it's way bigger. It's like Asda in America.
It's like Asda.
Same thing,
Yeah,
isn't it?
I should take you
Had all the shops.
when I leave. And we were searching New York for a fancy new apartment. She said,
Harmonies in the background.
Park is SeaWorld for trees.
Central Park is SeaWorld for trees. Was she high when she said that?
About the cows wearing my sweater. It's something about the weather that makes them lie down.
So for years, whenever I listen to that song, the lyric is, you ask about the cows wearing my sweater. It's something about the weather that makes them lie down. I thought for ages, seeing them multiple times live, that it was, you asked about the counsellor in my sweater. It's something about the weather that makes me lie down. So I thought he was saying he had like seasonal depression, but he was actually on about cows lying down because it's
When
raining.
it's gonna rain.
And I was like, for fuck's sake.
You brought a whole new meaning to the track, man.
It worked though.
It does.
Feel I might get better
Yeah, with the vibe that's going on, that makes sense.
together.
I want to say it's a little bit country infused, but I know I'll get lambasted for saying that because people just say, have you ever listened to country? And the answer is no, okay? But this is what I think it would sound like.
I like socks with sandals. She's more into scented candles. Oh, I'll never get that smell out of my bag.
Valid. It's like fucking incense sticks as well.
It was poorly handled the day we both got cancelled because I'm a racist and you're some kind of slag.
He's self-aware. I'll
He's
give him
touched on
that.
these cancelled moments a few times throughout this, and I respect it. Just living with it.
I think because 2020 onwards was when he started to be really vocal about these things. And also he's a huge troll. But
Yeah.
people don't understand that part of him.
I might get better. It's when we are together. The truth is that our egos are absurd. I thought we were
Saxophone's there again, just
but it
trying to break
seems
through.
I was gaslighting you. I didn't know that it had its own word.
There comes the counsellor.
You still ask about the cows wearing my sweater. You said it's something about the weather that makes them lie down. The only time I feel I might get better is when we are together.
Going back to that kind of chaos that they had on the intro track as well.
You can hear the piano
To
as
let
if it could just
loop.
restart.
Yeah. Quite a clever way to end the album. That I like it when an artist lets the album be looped back around again.
It is very cool. And after About You, you said, I feel that should have been the last track, which would have made sense. But I now think that makes sense as a last track. I think completely brung it back down just to like calmly end things off. And I've always really liked that song. Again, I like the topics that it explores lyrically, kind of that journey of being with someone and the happiness around it and how much like comfort it can bring you, which after what felt like a bit of heartbreak in some of the tracks was quite a nice way to end the album.
Yeah, I felt like About You would have been the perfect close to the album, but having that on the end kind of just carries on that feel and, it just makes it a bit longer and kind of spaces it out. I just feel like maybe that would have been a deluxe track and About You should have been the actual final ending, and then this is kind of like a bonus track at the end. But I didn't hate it. I thought it was all right. I thought it was a good way to close things out. I just would have preferred About You to be the last one.
Well, being funny in a foreign language. When this came out, obviously I'm a big fan of the band. This was, at the time, my least favourite 1975 album. And I feel every time I've re-listened to it, I like it more and more. I pick up on different elements. I pick up on different lyrics and different vocal techniques Matty's used. And it really feels like an evolution of the band. I'll always have that nostalgic feeling with their other albums that came out when I was younger and even in high school, etc. but this feels like a different, more experienced band that have put together a real proper album that's not too long, 12 tracks, a few different vibes, but flows really well. It's a soundscape in and of itself.
As somebody who's admittedly not a 1975 fan, the thing that really puts me off them and the thing that kind of makes me not want to listen to them is unfortunately Matty Healy's voice. On this album, it's kind of mixed into everything and it's made to be part of the track rather than it being the prominent feature. And like we were saying, the vocals have been worked on amazingly. Matty sounds really good on this album. He's worked on his, the way that he says words. He's worked on how his voice sounds. He's got the higher register. On some of the tracks, he's even got the lower register. He's clearly putting a lot of work into himself and his own vocals. And it shines through on this album because I think it works really, really well. And this is kind of like glory to the band. It's kind of saying, this is the band, this is everything that we can do, I'm just part of it. Whereas I feel like a lot of bands will just have the vocalist as the prominent thing and this is what you're listening to. With this, you can listen to the background, you can listen to the instruments that are going on and find a whole new respect for the album and for the artist.
Yeah, they really do give the tracks time to breathe as well. On the majority of them, there's 20, 30 seconds at the end where it's like, here's the instrumental, we'll slowly bleed it down. You can hear all the different elements kind of drop out and you realise what you're missing each time. I think the band shone through on this. And to be honest, it's quite nice to see that. Like you say, there's not that many bands now where people talk about them as a band as opposed to just the front man. Like if you think about the big British indie people in the last couple of years, like Sam Fender, it's just Sam Fender. Everyone just thinks of Sam Fender. I do think that if you listen to this album, you think, wow, what a fantastic group, not just what a great guy.
Yeah, and whilst they are a band, they have got all these other instruments that have been added in there, but they're being directed by the band and, they've been brought in for specific reasons. They've had to find these, these violinists and saxophonists that can do the parts that they can do. And I do think that George Daniel probably has a big part in kind of throwing that all together because most of the tracks where we heard this great orchestra and all of these sounds that were going on was thanks to George Daniel. So I think he deserves a lot of credit for what's gone on this.
Well, that was Being Funny in a Foreign Language. If you enjoyed the video, please don't forget to hit like and subscribe. It helps us out massively. And let us know in the comments what album we should listen to for the first time next.
Thank you very much for watching.